Hey guys, it's Paradise, and I cannot believe that there's so much new gameplay, reveals, and information following the latest Comic-Cons from around the world. So with a bunch of impactful changes, interesting weapon mechanics, and features to go over, we have a few juicy things to talk about if you're a long-time Monster Hunter fan. Also, if you enjoy all of our Monster Hunter videos and updates that keep you up to speed, then drop a like below and comment what new piece of information you're enjoying most. The most recent one for me is the reveal of Uthduna, the apex monster of the Scarlet Forest's armor set, both female and the male version at New York's Comic-Con. I just love the way it looks. But first, what if I told you Monster Hunter could be playable on your mobile phone as well as other devices like a Nintendo Switch? This is something you might immediately think is kinda crazy given the performance issues seen on the PlayStation 5 and even PC with those heavy recommended specs. And I would agree with you, but Japanese YouTuber Cha 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 raises an interesting point that has the Japanese community kind of intrigued and talking about it. With cloud gaming services, which is something I didn't even think of, it could likely mean that you could stream Monster Hunter Wilds to a mobile device or other devices, effectively using them as a monitor and letting a remote console or PC run the game, meaning if you have a device that's capable of streaming YouTube videos, then you could basically run Monster Hunter Wilds on it through cloud gaming. So with a strong enough internet connection, it could definitely be possible to play Wilds on mobile and portable devices. Of course, a good internet connection is required, but as this is a sort of Japanese point of debate, they do have very good internet over there, whereas my local mobile data, for example, is terrible. But imagine hopping on a train Wi-Fi on your long commute and playing Wilds on your phone with a controller. So that's just something interesting to think about that really didn't cross my mind, but the Japanese community are talking about. But next, I want to talk about the Charge Blade, as it is of course a super fun weapon and a very popular choice for hunters. One of the biggest changes that we already knew about was changes to how the amped and super amped element discharge would combo together. There's a new optional element discharge follow-up in between that you can choose to do or not, so you can't combo into SAED instantly without some kind of guard to counter. So overall the combo goes amped element discharge, and then EDF for element discharge follow-up, which is optional, and finally SAED, making it quite a long combo. Even if you skip the new EDF, it still requires doing amped element discharge into super amped element discharge. Well, as confirmed by a Japanese YouTuber, there is an old method to instantly go straight into SAED without needing a monster to attack you, and you can do this with the small barrel bombs, and this is seemingly the only method to go straight into SAED now. By placing a barrel bomb and immediately guarding, you can then follow up after the explosion with triangle and circle together to instantly unleash the super amped element discharge, while of course you have your shield charge and files. So the old SAED spam playstyle may still be viable even with the major changes to the combo steps required to go into it, thanks to small barrel bombs and of course guarding regular monster attacks. Using these barrel bombs is also an easy way to do a wake up with an SAED, although it was noted by the Japanese player that the barrel bomb's radius seemed bigger than before, and something triggered a double guard action during the test, but with better positioning it would be possible. On top of this, there's an interesting thing pointed out that the S-shaped pattern of the super amped element discharge files being released matches the Monster Hunter World animation. But next I want to go over the new dual blade mechanics, moves, combos, and just general gameplay highlights, as there's a pretty big difference to the overall playstyle that you might be used to in the past games. And this comes from a Japanese YouTuber that kind of translates to Gunner's Matcha. Firstly is some good gameplay examples of the new Demon Flurry and Blade Dance combo in action. This is a new 3 to 5 step combo, replacing the old Blade Dance to allow for more control, movement, and timing, allowing you to alternate between Demon Flurry and Blade Dance, or just focus straight up on Blade Dance to try and get the final attack that does an impressive flip and a good amount of damage. We can also see some of the combo step options tested, which is pretty cool, again going up to a 5-step combo with specific timing on each one. The Focus Strike was also noted as just doing a quick leap if you don't connect with a wound, otherwise you do the Heavenly Blade Dance, and it was noted that the last attack has the highest motion value from the whole Focus Strike. Then of course we have the new Adept style dodge, which is kind of like what the Dual Blade gets instead of having an offset attack or a counter. Dodging at the right time as a monster attacks you lets you enter Demon Evasion state, which we know enhances your dodges with built-in attacks, and giving you an attack and elemental damage buff while it lasts. But the Japanese YouTuber also notes it lets you fill your demon gauge more easily, which is cool to know. I also want to point out the mount finisher, which just looks super awesome, and it was noted as quite a powerful attack with the finishing spin. I just love this mount finisher, it's so good. But then we got to see the sneak attack, which is a sort of cross slash. The monster dies, so we only see one damage number, and it seems like the damage was a little lower, perhaps because it was just one hit that connected. And now I want to talk about focus strikes and wounds a bit deeper. You see there's a hidden mechanic called the Wound Destruction bonus, and this is actually demoed pretty well in the Bow preview trailer. Obviously, hitting a wound with a focus strike will pop the wound, do some damage to the monster, and give you a material. But if you open several wounds before doing your focus strike, you can get something called a Wound Destruction bonus when you then pop all of those wounds together. This literally doubles the damage of the wound pop, stacking up to 3 times. Here you can see 3 wounds are popped, the first for 50, then 100, and finally 150 damage. So this totals 300 damage, while doing these one at a time would just deal 50 damage a piece, totaling 150, meaning you can double your wound damage if you stack wounds before popping them. Of course, this won't always be possible, or perhaps even the best thing to do in the situation in the hunt, but it's something that's worth knowing. And now I want to highlight the Hunting Horn's new Echo Bubble and even the Focus Strike. You see, these new moves for the Hunting Horn are pretty cool, but did you know you can stack notes during the casting animation without having to actually do those note attacks? The Echo Bubble places an AoE that enhances yourself and allies while in it, and creates sonic waves when you play notes, but the animation to cast the Echo Bubble lets you stack notes without having to properly play them during the animation, so you can go straight into a performance and encore. This also applies to the Focus Strike riff, which is just awesome and really mixes things up with the Hunting Horn. So what do you think about these points, and do you have any other interesting mechanics, moves, or combos that you've noticed? If you're watching this today when the video goes out, then do note tomorrow on the 23rd there's a big live stream at 3 PM BST and 7 AM PDT, which we will be covering, so keep your eyes on the channel for more Monster Hunter goodness coming very soon. Tell us down below and subscribe for more Monster Hunter and videos on your favorite games coming very, very soon.